This episode of Friends Talking Nerdy is brought to you by the good folks at LRM Online. Thank you all for paying attention to our lovely podcast here. We hope you enjoy each and every episode as LRM brings it to you each and every week. What you're about to listen to is part 2 of our discussion on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you go to the Google Play Music Store, if you go to the iTunes Store, you can download and subscribe to our podcast and hear the previous episodes. Each week, we hope to post a new episode up based on differing topics that we end up doing. So we hope you enjoy it. And here it is, Friends Talking Nerdy.
For 1,000 years, I wielded the powers of the wish. I brought ruin to the heads of unfaithful men. I brought forth destruction and chaos for the pleasure of the lower beings. I was feared and worshipped across the mortal globe, and now I'm stuck at Sunnydale High. Mortal. Child. And I'm flunking math.
If your friends are nerdy and you are nerdy too, I want to talk to you. Friends Talking Nerdy.
I mean, look, they're not going to go into the whole realistic logistics of things in the sense where it's like, I'm sure the mother probably had life insurance. She died of natural causes. They were probably able to afford everything to a point. I don't know.
Well, they directly mentioned that, though. After the mother passed away, they had a scene where Willow was talking to Buffy about her finances being in bad shape and that she was broke, but then they never touched on it again.
Doesn't she go through a series of different jobs and things in season 7? Doesn't this come back up a little bit later on? I mean, there is definitely more to it than that. But it's definitely, for the sake of the convenience of the episode more than it is overall, story arc.
Well, season 7 was when Sunnydale High School came back and Principal Wood hired her to be a counselor at the school, but he had ulterior motives. I guess his mother was the second Slayer that Spike had killed in the 70s.
Right.
Oh, my God. Oh, I gotta love this stuff.
Yeah.
That's too funny. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like sometimes that's what going back to what I was saying, where it's little things like that, where it's like 1 minute, they'll say, hey, you have no money, but yeah, it's like they don't somehow they just don't bring it up again because it doesn't fit with the writing. I don't know. Yeah, and that's my thing. I mean, if you're going to bring up something, have it be a consistent, because there were so many things, so many storylines that they could have went through of Buffy trying to protect Sunnydale from vampires, but also worrying about eviction, foreclosure, money problems. There were things that they could have done that would have made it a lot more interesting than it ultimately became. But anyway, one little side note on the Master, the big bad from season 1, that's played by Mark Metcalf, and he was the ROTC leader Douglas Niedermeyer in Animal House, and he also was in 2 Twisted Sister music videos, We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock. So yeah, that's awesome.
Oh man.
Now season 2, the big bads in season 2 are, I think, probably our collective favorites here. Spike, Drusilla, and Angel.
The fan collective, everybody's fan collective. This is what made Buffy, right? Season 2 is when the show came into its own, and the best characters that, in a lot of ways, just they stuck with the whole series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, those were really Spike. So, all right, if we're going to talk about Buffy's love interest for a second. So with Angel, I thought it was awesome when they had him turn evil. I thought that was great. Because nothing hurts more than having your loved one all of a sudden want to kill you. So I thought that was awesome the way they did it. And But as the series went on, and all of a sudden, like, Spike started developing feelings for her. So here is my argument, and this is this is the one main thing that has everything I said that bothered me about the series. This is what killed me the most. Buffy never really gave Spike a chance. Even though Angel turned evil, he got his, he lost his soul, turned back to his wicked ways, and tried to kill the Slayer. But yet Buffy still forgave him once he got his soul back. And here's the thing. He never wanted his soul. It was forced on him, and from that, it's like, he did what he did because now he's stuck with having a soul, and he has to try and make amends and do whatever, be good. Spike loved Buffy so much, he actually went and searched to go get his soul back to prove how much he loved her.
That
doesn't speak... Huh?
I was going to say, though, after he attempted to rape her, he's twisted. I don't know. And
Angel never did anything when he had no soul. He didn't try to do anything bad. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. The fact that, while Spike had no soul, the fact that he was willing to make that sacrifice and to go, and to prove, he was trying. That's the thing. Was it messed up? Yes, of course it was messed up. But the fact that he actually went and got his soul back, what vampire does that?
But at the end of the day, though, Spike is just like the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, he already had the soul back with the chip in his brain, but he had to have the big bad wizard give him that soul. I mean, that's one other thing I had about the vampires. I mean, why do they necessarily have to be bad? What is a soul? How is a soul defined? I mean, if you did, does a soul mean you're going to always be good? I mean, there are people with souls on that show that not good people, and it was just nebulous how they wanted to say this person is going to start having, second thoughts about his acts, but this person's always going to be bad.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Spike is kind of the only one that kind of exists within this in-between state. The only other vampires that have expressed remorse or things are for each other. It's not necessarily for humanity. And, I mean, did Spike show any remorse up until the chip? I think the question of what is a soul, and it was when he got the chip that made it so he couldn't be violent toward humans. Was that all that he needed to be able to feel remorse for things that he's done? I don't know if there's any other vampires that have existed within that kind of gray area. I think lack of soul means bad, right?
Well, it's supposed to be, from my take on it seemed like having a soul is also having a conscience, so it's like the fact that if you don't have a soul, then there's nothing there telling you that you're actually hurting another person. Because think about it, vampires, all they want to do is drink blood. So if you're drinking blood, you're hurting another living being. If you have the fact that you don't have a conscience, you don't have any sort of an idea that you're actually hurting somebody, or they're in a sick, twisted way, they're just getting off on it, where it's this is what they want. Sorry, that was a machine making noise. So it's just... I lost my train of thought. Okay, come back to me.
At its base, the vampires are products of the humans that they were when they became vampires, right? One of my very favorite episodes was Fool for Love, which is in season 5, and it's where we get Spike's backstory as William the Bloody. We hear his bloody awful poetry. That's how he secured his name, and and he's just this pathetic romantic, right? And so in getting that, we get a sense of who he was and that personality that ends up in Spike having a conscience or no, right?
Well, I know one character who kind of fits the bill of what you just described, Morah, is Spike's companion in season 2, Drusilla.
Drusilla was awesome. Oh my God, she was just so insane. You could not help but love her. The way, like, she just played that character, and to the fact, like, she just loved Spike. And I forgot how they ended off with her on the series. Did they kill her off?
They killed her off on Buffy, but on Angel they resurrected her. But no, she...
How did they resurrect her? I don't remember.
I don't think I got that far in Angel. Sorry.
Alright, I don't know.
But I loved how she was pure id. Just everything was fascinating, but in a dark way. And she took absolute pleasure in all the pain she inflicted. And the actress herself actually comes from good pedigree. Her father, Martin Landau, her mother, Barbara Bain, were partners on Mission Impossible.
Huh. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason why Drusilla is such a great character, though, was because that she was tortured up until the point that she became a vampire. She was driven mad by Angel, who killed her entire family or something and left her alive and tortured her. So she was driven mad and then turned into a vampire. And so, like, what makes her such a great character is that mad self. It's gorgeous. She's great.
But she played it beautifully. Like, she wasn't like, there was like no screaming. There was like a calm, scary, psycho, like almost like sexy kitten kind of thing, like, I'll take care of you while I peel your flesh away. It's all good. She was just awesome. There's like those type of people, like those are the ones you really have to watch out for, not the ones that come at you screaming.
Yeah. And I'm just glad I got that on tape.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have to talk favorite episode of mine, which John had mentioned on Facebook. He also posted, which was one more time with feeling.
Yeah, the musical episode. Once more with feeling.
Once more with feeling. So it's funny. So again, here, I remember when they announced it that they're coming out with a musical episode, here I am like, oh, it's going to suck. Like, no, don't do a musical. It's like, really? Are you kidding? And oh my God, I loved it. It was so amazing. And it's funny. So I was freelancing in this Broadway marketing place at the time. And one of the guys that worked there, because he was also a Buffy fan, he was able to somehow record it off of TV. So he had all the songs, so he made me a copy. So I had it on, on tape and eventually on my iPod at some point. Which to this day, like, I never got that sound when they finally came out with the soundtrack. I don't know, I had the actual TV version of it, and it's just so much better. And Spike, oh my God, it's like, Spike, first of all, has an amazing voice, and I love the way, like, the songs that he sings, because he's just tortured by Buffy. Like, the way he just loves her. And I think that's also the first episode at the end where they kiss.
Mm-hmm. And boy, is it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so awesome. I remember watching that and being like, that was great.
Yeah, I got the soundtrack. I remember I wanted the soundtrack the day it was released, and I was so pissed when I didn't get it that same day. I think I got it the very next day, sophomore year in high school. That's embarrassing. But like, I was really, there's so many good voices outside of Xander and Willow. Like, I was impressed with the fact that all of these actors can sing surprisingly well, and these surprisingly, like, well thought out finished songs. It's just such a great episode. Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't.
So Jason, I'm sorry. Here's the thing that's funny though. So because I actually I remember them doing like on the news, they were showing like when the episode came out. I remember them like being interviewed and everything, and they even said, and I don't remember if it was Josh Whedon who said it, but one of them has said like, yeah, it's like not all of them have the best voices. But they made it that they picked the music and they picked the levels, the tone, the pitches to conform to that, like so that way they were able to actually sing it. Like Anya, Kara, Giles, Giles. Yeah, they're the ones who have the best voice. And Spike. Yeah. So it's funny, I love the one song where Buffy is singing and they all come, like this is towards the end, and they're like, quick, she needs backup. And Anya and Tara, and it's like basically they're just backup singing her, which I thought was great. But yeah, there's this one little song, I don't know if you guys ever remember it. They're walking down the street. They're trying. It's Xander, Giles. Am I mispronouncing it? Why am I?
No, it's Giles.
Blanking on it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking on it. Giles and Anya. They're talking. They're walking down the street, and everybody around them is singing. And there's this one woman who breaks into a song about a parking ticket.
Oh yes.
Do you remember, Jason? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, is that on the soundtrack? I don't know if that's actually in the soundtrack, but okay.
It is definitely in the soundtrack.
She was actually, crap, I'm trying to remember. The one who sings it, she's actually either one of the executive producers or she was somebody who was actually behind the scenes, and somebody knew she had a good voice, so they put her in. Interesting.
I didn't know that. That's super cool.
Yeah, and I thought that was hysterical. And the thing is, like, if you hear the wording is really funny because, like, at the end she's trying to seduce the cop, like, trying to get out of the ticket. She's like, "Hey, I'm not wearing any underwear." It's like, it's just really funny. But it's like hard to miss. You can miss it, but that episode is just so well done. I loved it. I wasn't a fan of the Xander Anya song. That I could have done without.
Oh, I like the Xander Anya song. And in season 7, when they give Anya's backstory after she becomes a vengeance demon again and slaughters a whole frat, there's that backstory, and it does a few different flashbacks to before she became a demon, but then it does a backstory to the musical episode, or a flashback rather to the musical episode, and she has this little extra song that is just so heartbreaking, but shows how much she loves Xander, despite the fact that he left her, and it's really great and sad. And anyway,
I will say my favorite character on the show, Anya is
rightfully,
she's just unique, I guess. So confident in a lot of ways, but I think that confidence is hiding up lots of insecurity, because as a vengeance demon, she didn't hang out in the world of humans. Now she's in new settings that she hadn't been in for hundreds of years, and it scares her. I mean, which, it brings me to her performance in my favorite episode. I believe it was season 5, The Body, where Buffy's mother dies. And it was near the end of the episode when Anya had a bit of a breakdown because she didn't understand death. She didn't understand why it had to happen, and then she ultimately ended up crying and whatnot. But I think that was really well done.
Well, her character was almost like a little kid being introduced to all these new things. So I thought that was really cool, like the way they made her, like how how they developed her character, I thought that was kind of cool. Like even like the relationship with Xander, that was all I knew to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was just something that it's like a little kid discovering for the first time in a woman's body. I mean, I thought it was hysterical. Like one of the songs that she sings is how she's scared to death of bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
was that the song?
Mm-hmm.
It's like bunnies. I don't know. She was an interesting character. She wasn't my favorite, but
that's Spike.
I did like her.
Yeah, that's Spike for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Spike was great, and you know, it's funny. Like James Marsters is just very interesting. And it's funny, we saw him. Tim, was I with you was that the first day comic when we saw him?
No, he wasn't at the one we went at.
Okay, no, I went to one of the ones in Portland, and he was there, and it was just kind of weird seeing him. Like, I know he's not a blonde, I know he's a brunette, and obviously he was older. And he just looked like some random middle-aged guy. And I was just like, that's not Spike.
Aww.
And the voice, too.
Yeah, I know. And he's not British. And he did it really well. I always loved him for that.
Yeah.
So I know. But it's a shame. I would have loved, after Angel, I would have looked at him in another stuff. I don't think he's really played in much.
He plays music. I know he's actually written a couple of Spike comic books for Dark Horse, and he also I think he mentioned he has a band, but his band will open up for Nerf Herder when Nerf Herder is playing a concert, and Nerf Herder is the one that came up with the song for the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Now, one person we didn't mention yet on season 2 that I loved, Principal Snyder.
Yes.
Good old Armin Shimmerman.
Oh my God.
I mean,
I'm trying to remember.
He really did play him like Quark, but just with a bad attitude. It was essentially the same character, just a bad guy version of Quark.
Yeah, he had some of the best lines. He was definitely a great principal. To hate, a great, like, little small real world adversary to Buffy.
Yeah, no, he was definitely, he was fun. There was another bad guy. I'm trying to look up. Was that the mayor?
The mayor in season 3, yeah.
Yeah, the mayor was a great. I really like the mayor as a big bad for season 3. I love the mayor's personality. Like, got a great light sense of humor. He was good. It was cute though, rather than anything necessarily dark or that they've gone in other seasons. Like after season 2, when everything was really heavy in the depths of love between Buffy and Angel, season 3 was very different tone from the big bad.
Yeah, I love the way he played it. That was good. I like the way, because not all villains have to be like. I don't know. Like he came across like a sweetheart. Like it was like this is somebody's grandfather. And I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't a mustache twirling villain. I mean, I like it when actors, take the left turn when you expect them to take a right. Reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Johnny Depp's character in the movie Sands was originally supposed to be played by George Clooney. And there was supposed to be a lot more swearing from that character in that movie, but Johnny Depp, even though the character does swear on a couple of occasions, he reined it back, which made that character memorable. And I think it's the same with the mayor. The fact that you did expect the whole "I'm going to destroy the world," and instead, you got the guy, you shouldn't use that type of language around children type of guy.
I know that was great. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, season 3 had a lot of great stuff in it. I would say season 3 had some of the first best standalone episodes that were like outside of the arc of the story overall. Like The Wish, when Cordelia wishes that Buffy never came to Sunnydale. And we get to see Vampire Willow, which is great. Seeing Willow completely against type for her character. And that comes back again later as well. And
that episode sounds familiar. I can't remember it.
Yeah, so Buffy never comes to Sunnydale, and essentially Sunnydale gets taken over, or is overtaken with vampires, and the Master even returns in this episode because the Master was never killed because Buffy never came to Sunnydale in the first place. In the end, Buffy still does come to Sunnydale at the very end of the episode, I think it was, and yeah, it was pretty great. Then later on in the season, Vampire Willow comes from that world that was in that episode and comes into the real world. And so we got 2 Willows. That was Doppelgangland, which was also a great episode.
And one I forgot in season 2, Ted, with the amazing John Ritter as the robot.
I hated that episode. Oh,
I kind of remember that one too.
Yeah,
I really, like I said, I haven't seen these in so long. I'm going by memory.
I just got done binge watching them yesterday.
John Ritter sounds familiar.
Yeah, John, and I don't know, just I grew up watching him on TV. I'm sure you did too. Three's Company and all that stuff. And
no, I know who John Ritter is.
No, I know you. No, I'm not saying you don't know who he is. What I'm saying is, I love it. Like halfway near the episode when he first gets damaged, and then his head, he would turn his head and have a little like a Tourette aside. But it reminded me a lot of Jack Tripper from Three's Company.
He did a great job in the episode.
Yeah.
It was definitely like the standalone episodes of Buffy are the best and the worst of Buffy. And I don't know, to my mind, that's leaning on the worst. Not the very worst, though, because I do want to make sure that this gets mentioned, is Beer Bad. I don't know if you guys remember Beer Bad.
Oh, where Buffy turns into a caveman?
Yeah, Buffy turns into a caveman because she's drinking beer that turns her into a caveman. Oh, man. This is when she goes off to college in season 4.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's when she's in college and hooks up with Riley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that, another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy is in the books. Thank you all for listening. This is Tim Jousma. Once again, if you haven't done so already, the show is available to download and subscribe on the Google Play Music Store as well as iTunes. We would love if you did that. It would definitely help us out. And also, feel free to leave a rating for the podcast. We want to make this as best as we possibly can. So leave that rating and let us know what we're doing right and what we can do to fix the show. We want to make it a show that you love to listen to. Anyway, as always, we would love to thank Christopher Lazarek for his wonderful theme song. Head to ChristopherLazarek.com for information on how to purchase his EP, Here's to You, which is available on all digital platforms.
You haven't called. Not once.
You said you were over me.
And you just accepted that?